Okay, we will start now our discussion. Can you see the screen? Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Is my audio clear? Yeah, so we will start now. Some are joining. The number of attendees are increasing. So we're going to discuss today a very important part, okay, about the statute, Rome Statute, or the International Criminal Court, as what they say. But the proper term used here is not actually or, but Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Other books says that it is the other term of Rome Statute is the International Court. How it originates? If you read the UN Charter, there's actually an organ there known as the International Court of Justice. But this one is different. It is not an organ of the United Nations, but still this this is created because of the unification of states to solve specific problems which are not covered under International Court of Justice, or ICJ. Okay, so before I go into that details, I'll discuss first the disclaimer. Okay, because this topic now is controversial. We will only discuss based on our discussion of the topic, okay, in relation to our course. We will not go into the substance, otherwise we be held liable under the rule on the sub judice rule, or making comment while the case pending in court. And of course, I know that that rule may not be applicable because the case may be pending in court but not our court. It is in the ICC, or the International Criminal Court. Okay, so we have a rule here that if a case is pending, we are not allowed to make comments, otherwise the judge might be biased because of the publicity. It is tried by publicity, which is prohibited. But this time, when people are asking how it became like that, then we have a duty as an academe to let the people know, or perhaps the student in our case, to understand. Okay, so the sub judice rule only applies to Philippine court. Okay, there is no criminal offense if you even make comment when it is pending in other jurisdiction. Okay, so there is um, an organ, okay, of the United Nations, okay, that has jurisdiction on other aspect, but this is a statute created still, okay, as to address the problem of other criminal crimes which are not tried under ICJ, or the International Court of Justice. So still it is in the UN, but it is not part of the organ of the UN. It is just that some at the initiative of party countries, they come up with that Rome Statute. Okay, so as you recall, the organs of the United Nations, okay, we have the General Assembly, Security Council, okay, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice. It is different from the International Criminal Court. It has different jurisdiction, but the International Criminal Court is very specific on 4 crimes only. Okay, other than that, if it does not fall under International Criminal Court, that case may be falling under the International Court of Justice. Okay, so I distinguish that because there may be a difference, okay, or confusion as to the jurisdiction of the ICJ and the ICC. So as to the seat where it is located, it is okay in the Hague, Netherlands. Okay, the seat of the court, which refers to, if it's a big C, refers to the International Criminal Court, shall be established in the Hague. Okay, and the court shall enter into a headquarter agreement with other host states. It can actually has another branches, or it has the power to enter into other agreements to it can, so that it can sit elsewhere. That right now it is found in the Hague. Now, so what is the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court? Applicable to state parties which have ratified the amendments. So it does not apply to all, unlike in United Nations where they presume that everybody is a member. But here it's only applicable to those who are willing to abide. In fact, it was only established in the 28th century. We become a member just recently, and we withdraw thereafter. Its jurisdiction over the persons for the most serious crimes of international concern. So, what are these? You memorize because there are only 4 and it's easy to memorize. One of which is the crime of genocide. Okay? So, of course, there are explanation on different articles of its meaning. We will discuss later. And then we have the crime against humanity, okay, war crimes, and then the crimes of aggression. There are crimes which we will not be talking about. Of course, other countries were charged of like crime of aggression on some countries. Okay, so some are also charged with genocide. Okay. By the way, our discussion is only focused on the facts, no, which are applicable to us, but as to its details and to into the applicability of the law, that be all depends on you. Okay, but what I'm saying is that we'll just state the facts and the law. Okay, so basically, this law is not known to all, even in law school. We haven't discussed this one. Okay, in fact, in bar exams, what normally come out are these 4 criminal a jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, but other than that, it's not fully discussed. That's why, if you read the news or listen to the news in radio, um, they prefer a practicing international lawyer. We have few here in the Philippines, but it would be very practical if you are well versed in that and you are into practice of that profession. Okay, we have names of international lawyers, but as to the practice, we do not have any practicing lawyer in the Hague. Okay, so even law students, okay, even after we graduate, we are not really well versed of the International Criminal Court. Okay, we only knew probably few, like, well, what's the other name of Rome Statute? Okay, they say it's the International Criminal Court, but if you look at the title, it's not the other name. It's just that the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court is not a synonymous with Rome Statute or International Criminal Court. Okay, so these are the 4 crimes: crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes, and crimes of aggression. Well, there is a person, no, convicted of, or in fact, a warrant of arrest were issued to Putin and the Prime Minister of Israel. But although they had a standing warrant, they were not arrested. Okay, so our president was charged for crime against humanity. And under that, there are specific crimes mentioned. One of that is murder, okay, and murder, torture, and rape. Yeah, those are the crimes. But, those crimes, I think, in my opinion, cannot be attributed to the president. It is just an opinion for a discussion because, if you studied and read the revised penal code, the elements of this, let's say murder, if you are the one really committing the crime, okay, with um, the elements of making homicide into murder, like treachery, or when there is a conspiracy, okay, and that should be filed first in court. But I think if it's filed in court, surely the president will be dismissed, okay, considering the elements of murder, and it's really difficult to prove. And we haven't even seen, okay, in the news that the president himself is the one uh, executing the crime perpetrated. Torture, I do not see any evidence that he is the one torturing the victim. There are, then that could be, but it should have been filed in court because we have an existing court here. But until now, I guess, and as far as the record is concerned, that's what is in the news, there was no crime yet. And murder, torture, and rape, okay, these are crimes which should have been filed in our regular court because our court are still functional. Now we go into okay, so we will discuss the alleged crime committed by our former president. Crimes against humanity, what are those? There are many, but we will just focus on few, okay. Under that Article 7, a crime against humanity means that any of the following acts were committed as part of the widespread or systemic attack directed against a civilian population with knowledge of the attack. Okay, and then murder, example, extermination, enslavement, deportation, or forcible transfer of population. Okay, imprisonment of other severe deprivation of physical liberty in violation of the fundamental rules of international law. Okay, torture, and this is the second crime he was charged with. Rape, and the third crime he was charged with, sexual slavery, enforced prostitution, forced pregnancy, enforced sterilization, okay, and any other form of sexual violence in compliance and incomparable gravity. So some are not so important because, well, some other leaders were charged, like apartheid in Africa, but that was not committed by our president. We go to Article 8. Article 8, war crimes. Of course, uh, this was again fully discussed in another convention, okay, the International Humanitarian Rights, and they also call it as the laws of war, okay. So of course there are rules in war. Even if it's a war, there are also rules that they have to follow, okay. So, and that is found in the Geneva Convention, okay. And that Geneva Convention, as it says, it's also called as the laws of war, okay. So if you're going to violate that, there's another it will be tried by this court, International Criminal Court. Like, what are those rules? Like, when there is war, you still have to follow certain rules. Like, you have to you are not allowed to destroy buildings owned by civilians. You have to only attack military facilities. Civilians should not be involved, okay. So those are crimes. So what are those specific? One is the um, willful killing. Okay, that is again, I mentioned the Geneva Convention. Okay, willful killing, torture, inhuman treatment, including biological experiments. Okay, willfully causing great suffering or serious injury to body or health. Extensive destruction and appropriation of property, okay, not justified by military necessity and carried out unlawfully and wantonly. Okay, compelling a prisoner of war or other protected person to a severe in the forces of hostile power. So in other words, that crimes should only be directed to the enemy, and that is for the to the military, not to any civilian. Not even the conflict should not even be involved in any manner to the civilian needs like water. They should not the water should not be um, included, like poisoning a well. It's again another war crimes. Now, another, we have the crime of aggression, okay, as one of the accusation against a president of Russia. The difference is that the president of Russia was not arrested, unlike ours, where Filipinos are handing over our fellow Filipino to a foreign power. Okay, so well, in law school, we were actually taught to love the country, teach and protect fellow citizens. So, but this time we are depressed because we have a functioning court, and the victim was uh, now a former president who was at the time when he was the president. He was he has a approval rate, and again I think the highest in the for the entire history of Philippines, 80% approval rate. Okay. And in fact, the programs that he was proposing, like war on drugs, was actually approved by Congress. So at the time that it was approved, um, people was probably impressed. Okay, and they all agree to that. Okay, at the time. Okay, but you know, in politics, sometimes when your enemy is so powerful, you have to probably lessen its power. By what means? You know, in election times, it's very important that you have the control of the Senate and the House of Rep. So this time is very crucial, more so that his daughter is the vice president, supposedly the next in rank, the next in the succession of the presidency. Okay, but you know, these are political issues, which I think that is the reason behind all this. Okay, it's just my opinion, but you know, citing the news from the time uh, President Duterte came into power, we do not have any reason to. In fact, people are so happy at the time when he assumed presidency. You know, drugs was so rampant. Okay, everybody is afraid to go out because of the drug addicts, and that's why he won, because of he is the one who can really solve that systemic problem of drugs. So of course, in the execution of that program, which was approved by Congress, and as he promised to the people before he was elected, he should um, execute it because it's the law approved by Congress at the time. Okay, and there was no irregularity there, because if you are the president, your job is to execute, right? The programs that you propose and approved by Congress at the time. Okay, at the time it was approved, yeah, and based on our discussion of the presumption of regularity, okay, any action of the executive branch is presumed regular. Had it been filed in a regular court here, which they did not, and in fact no case was filed against, it will be dismissed. Okay, so there was no case of irregularity at the time. Only complaints, rumors spreading, but as to its validity, it was perfectly valid. Only that probably in the execution, there were policemen involved because, in drugs, everybody are tempted more so that it deals with higher amount, okay? Big amount of money. It could even be millions of pesos. And, police officers were even linked to that. And that's natural, okay? And when you arrest somebody, a member of your group, and if you are a police officer and the person arrested is going to squell your name, then you have to kill. Okay, you have to do all the means just to prevent them from tarnishing your names. And that's what happened. Okay, that is the reality there. It is not the police officer who is killing them. In fact, the instruction was not really to kill, right? The instruction, the administrative order was only to execute the law. If they're going to fight back, then kill them because that's legal. Okay, if you read the revised penal code, police officers are even allowed to do that. Okay, if the person is a threat to your life, rules of engagement says that, yeah, you can defend yourself. They knew the rules of engagement because that's the training of the police officer. Okay, they will not immediately shoot, but sometimes it's just between their words and the words of the victim who is dead. Okay, sometimes they just um, do what some, okay, but it's not proven yet. But there are also there are also human rights there, present during the investigation or during the arrest. Okay, so when you deal drugs, you are presumed to have guns, right? Okay, you cannot simply deal it with to anybody. Okay, you have to secure yourself and you should have a gun. Okay, what if the one who entrapped you is already a police with guns? So you're going to draw a gun. If you're going to draw a gun, there's no reason why the police will not draw their guns as well. Okay, so only that the police officers are smart, quick enough to draw their guns because they are trained. While these drug dealers, they are not trained, so they are the victims. But it is a police operation, legitimate police operation. Okay. So what was floated in the news was that there are thousands, but in the report, as in the late charges against the president, there are only, I think, 43 in the spread of 6 years. So, but that's just normal, right? Considering that percentage, okay, let's say an average of 5 persons in a year, okay, 5 victims. But these are just minimal, considering that the effects that they're going to bring to the country, destroying lives of the families because if you have drugs. Okay, you are now hallucinating. You are upon taking the drugs, you're going to hallucinate, and it's going to destroy your brain. Okay, that's why it's really a big problem to the society if one is a drug addict. They do not have a sound mind. They're like crazy zombies. They can just do whatever they think because their mind is so powerful. They hallucinate. Okay? And in fact, in many reports I read, okay, because I normally every day I watch news and read newspapers at the time when there's are still newspaper available right now, and everything you need is now found in the internet. Yeah, every day I watch the news. Somebody is raped. Some father kills their children simply because they think their children is like an animal. Okay, they hallucinate that somebody is wanted to kill them, so they kill their families. Okay, what's the rationale behind that? It's because of the drugs. So it's really it's a pandemic in our country at the time. So it was only the president who solved it, President Duterte. Okay, so I'm not pro Duterte or pro. I'm just stating the facts. Okay, so although if you work in government, well, this is not inciting, but I'm just talking about what I observe. And it is covered still by my academic freedom and freedom of expression. Okay? So, well, I'm just upset now what's happening right now because, these are people that we voted before, and only because of politics, these people who contributed to our society were punished. And the punishment is not of their doing, but it's the doing of our fellow citizen. Okay? The facts states that, these family names were the ones who put our president right now in the country. If you were listening to news, the present president would not have been president without the daughter of the previous president. It was then at the time when Sara Duterte was so famous that they had a tandem. Without that, he will never win. Okay, and they agreed. They even admit that it is because of Sara that they won. Only now because of politics. There's no permanent in politics. They keep on fighting for power. Everybody wanted to become president. Everybody wanted to become a leader. Even you right now listening to me wanted that desire. It add more stress in your life. Could have been better if you just simply um, um, show your cards, lay down your cards without destroying the image of another, to the extent that you tell lies to persons just to discredit him or her. That's what it is in our politics. Okay, we keep on destroying. Okay, unlike in other countries where they sometimes appreciate, they do not go into legal battles except for if it's really um, rampant or clear. In our case, since election time, we have to diminish the power of our enemy. And that's one way of diminishing the power, by taking down the head. Duterte is the chairman of the PDP Laban, the former president. Okay, and he's a crowd drawer wherever he went, wherever he goes. Okay, people will flock even without a single penny given. So unlike others, when they go somewhere campaigning, they have to give money just to draw a crowd. Now we go into the elements of crime. Are you still there? Do I have students listening to me right now? I cannot read. Can you just say something to prove that you are there? Okay, very good. Okay, okay, that's enough. Okay, I'm actually. Can you see the slides? Can you see this one? What do you see? Can you read Article 9? Is it there? Okay. So now I go to Article 9, the elements of crime, because when people will be asking you what's going on, at least you can explain in a manner that I explained to you. Okay. So um, we go into the elements, okay, of crime. So on the charges, okay, I mentioned a while ago. Okay, so there are only 4 crimes, right? We go to the elements. Okay, when you say element, these are things, these are the elements to show that you really violated certain crimes. That's what they call elements. Okay, like rape, for example. What are the elements? One of which is the carnal knowledge. Did you perform those sexual acts? It's one. Okay, was the woman forced? So those are elements. So same here, goes through with elements of the crime. Follow in the International Criminal Court shall assist, okay, the court, okay, the elements of the court in the interpretation and application of Article 6, 7, which we'll discuss later, which refers to the crimes that I mentioned, the 4 crimes, 7 and 8, okay. They shall be adopted by 2/3 majority of the members in the assembly of the state parties. Here, if you look at it, if you certainly um, follow these rules, before the determination of the elements of the crime, before they can issue even warrants in applying courts here, before the prosecutor issues warrants, okay, he has to ascertain first the probable cause. Okay, so meaning that before the warrant of arrest will be issued, the prosecutor will first ascertain whether there is a probable cause of the crimes committed by stating those elements. And aside from that, following Philippine court, it will be relayed to the judge, and the judge now will issue warrant. Okay, it should be the warrant. Philippine courts, okay, assumes or no warrant. If you read Article 3, right, Section 2, no warrant of arrest or search warrant shall be issued by the judge, shall be issued unless it is determined by the judge, okay, and the evidence that he may be presented. Okay, so it is only the judge that can issue warrant of arrest. It does not, they do not have any jurisdiction or nothing in the, even in court proceedings, can any international criminal court issue warrant. They do not have, even if they have jurisdiction, they cannot still issue warrant because, okay, Philippine Constitution states that only the judge can issue warrant of arrest. Okay, granting that, let's say, we are a party to that International Criminal Court, but the rules is still that it has to pass first the regular court or the host court. Okay, we'll discuss later on this jurisdiction, especially in Article 59 and 58. Okay, so here, if you look at it, there are still two-third majority. Well, there's a, if I move my cursor, there's an image that will appear. Okay, if so they shall be adopted by two-third majority of the members of the assembly of the state parties. So who are these state parties? These are the countries that joins Canada and adopted the International Criminal Court. So what's the requirement? To determine whether the crimes has been, whether the crimes or whether the crimes really committed is the two-third majority of the members of the assembly state. Okay, what does it mean then if you're going to follow it? This still requires, right? Two-third majority of the members of the assembly of the state parties. Okay, so probably there was a presumption that they agree, but I do not heard of any news that they call for the two-third of all the members of the assembly of the state parties. I did not even heard of voting, that they cast vote rather and the two-third vote was cast against the Duterte, because if they are going to strictly follow this one, that they're going to call first the assembly to vote the two-third to issue whether the crime was committed, then I'm sure this will be dismissed, okay, right away. The world knew that Duterte probably is doing well. People are also against the drugs. Okay, so let's go into amendments of the elements of the crime. May be proposed by, okay, any party. This is now the amendment. Then judges acting by absolute majority. Okay, so what does it mean by absolute majority compared to simple majority? Okay, the absolute majority, would it mean unanimous? Because if it's only, let's say there are 5, the simple majority is 50% plus 1, so 3. But what do you mean by absolute majority? It could be more than that, could be two-third or it could not be simple majority, because if it's only 50%, then plus 1, then that's simple majority. But when you say absolute majority, higher than simple majority, which is difficult to get. Okay? So those are the things that they have to argue as the the lawyer of that. Okay? So we have the prosecutor, okay, can also amend, okay, and that prosecutor there refers to their prosecutor of the ICC, not our prosecutor. Okay? So the amendment still shall be adopted by two-thirds majority of the members of the assembly of the state parties. So what are these? Even the, I think this is just my opinion. In the determination of the elements, they fall short on the elements of the state parties. They did not call. They go directly to issuing of a warrant. Okay. So we go now into the elements of the crimes and the amendments. Thereto shall be consisted, okay, with this statute. Okay. And then um, Article 13. Now, the court may exercise jurisdiction with respect to the crimes referred to in the Article 5. Okay. Okay, the one I've said, okay, on those crimes, okay, on the 4 crimes, in accordance with the provision of the statute, if the situation which one or more of such crimes appears to have been committed is referred to the prosecutor by the state party in accordance with Article 14. So these are now on the jurisdiction. Okay, we discussed last time the jurisdiction is very important, because if you don't have any jurisdiction, you do not have any authority to command the person accused. So it's important to establish first jurisdiction. And no wonder why the defense right now would probably look into whether or not they have jurisdiction over the Philippines. They we withdraw already, I think 2019. Okay, 2019 we already withdraw as a member of the ICC. We're not a party anymore. Before that, there was actually a case filed or an investigation, but we do not find it um, pleasing, or may not be good for the country. We withdraw. But there was a discussion, actually, one of the judges relayed to us in one of his class in a graduate school in Manila. The warrant or the investigation actually started way back, even before Philippines withdraw from the ICC. Let's say if we withdraw 2019, or what was it, 17? 2 years before that, let's probably 17, there was already an investigation. Okay, and we acquired jurisdiction probably, they acquired jurisdiction probably on that day. Okay, they have jurisdiction, maybe they have jurisdiction on that day, but right now they do not have jurisdiction. Okay, we'll discuss later on what are the implications of that. Okay, because the jurisdiction maybe maybe on the time of the commission of the crime, but in the execution of the, let's say, warrant, they do not have jurisdiction. Like 2005, we are no longer a member of the ICC. Okay, how can you effectively issue warrant of arrest when we are no longer a party to the ICC? Now, okay, a situation in which one of the more crimes appeared to have been committed referred to as the prosecution by the state party in accordance with Article 14. Okay, there are exceptions where actually Security Council will be involved, and that does not include the crimes against humanity. This refers only to the disturbance of the peace. Okay, on the crime charges, we do not secure first the Security Council. Okay, So the in paragraph B here refers only to crimes where peace and order of the world is disturbed. Okay, murder, rape, or as the crimes charged, and torture were not crimes which involves the prosecute to the reference of the prosecutor by the Security Council. Okay, so it does not involve war since it's only a crime of on drugs. It doesn't affects the world, so this does not apply to the case. The prosecutor has initiated an investigation in respect to such crime in accordance with Article 15. Okay? So those are the only crimes that it has jurisdiction. Now, what is in Article Chapter 7, which actually paragraph B refers to, that it requires first Security Council. These are only reference to crimes which are threats of peace, breaches of peace, and acts of aggression. It should call upon the Security Council. Similar to what happened in Russia, they called for the Security Council, but the rule is that if one of the permanent member in the Security Council will not or will veto, then automatically it will not, the resolution will not be approved, but it still requires another body to approve, and that is the General Assembly. So although it was vetoed by Russia, of course, because they are permanent members, it was still um, it was overruled, okay, by the General Assembly. So still there was a warrant against Putin. Now, um, now into the jurisdiction, okay, this is very controversial, no? In the Philippines, state party to Rome Statute since November 1 of 2011, okay, uh, deposited the written notification to the withdrawal, okay, in 2018, rather, withdraw 2018, okay, March 17, 2018, as far as the record is concerned. So, although we withdraw already, but still they claim they have jurisdiction. Now, March 17, 2019, the effect, because the withdrawal will not take effect immediately, it should be after 1 year. So the effectivity of that withdrawal was 2019. Okay, so 1 year from that withdrawal, the effectivity of the Rome Statute was on 2019. So effective 2019, we are no longer a party to the Rome Statute. Okay. Now, the court retained jurisdiction with respect to alleged crimes that occurred in the territory of the Philippines while it was still a state party. That's what they said, that okay, when we are still member, we committed that crime, they still have jurisdiction. But the problem now is how can they effectively issue those one when we are no longer a party? Yes, at the time when they committed probably alleged crime, we still have jurisdiction. But as to the time when they're going to issue the warrant, we do not have. As they're going to implement the judgment, probably we do not have. But the problem is that our president was now in the detention cell. Okay, so those are the now. So what are those crimes again that he was charged with? Okay, rape, murder, torture. These were never heard because again, as I've said, if these crimes had been filed in court, which court are still functioning, if evidence were presented, I'm sure the court will also judge based on the evidences. But I do not see any. I cannot. I do not see any. I do not see the president raping. I don't even see the president torturing. I don't even see the president committing murder. Let's say if you have that instruction, I do not think you include in your instruction to rape, to murder, to torture. Only probably in how they execute. Okay, but the manual, I do not see any problem. No president of sound mind or no police officer of sound mind will do all these acts. And in fact, if the police officer will do this personally on their own, then they will be the one responsible, not somebody, not the higher ups or higher authority. Let's say you go into the command responsibility. Was it part of the command that you're going to murder, torture, or rape? I do not see any reason why the higher authority will issue those command. Okay, so had it been filed in court, this one should have been dismissed. Okay, and we have a functioning court. They should have filed this case here. Okay, even if he was a president before, but right now criminal acts can be filed when you are no longer president, and so far there's no crime filed against him in our court. Okay, now we go into uh, the role of the prosecutor in Article 15. Okay, the prosecutor may initiate investigation by motu proprio, okay, mean on their own, on the basis of the information of crimes within the jurisdiction of the court. They actually can initiate, they can investigate here in our country, and sometimes they may even have counterpart here just to look for evidences. The prosecutor shall analyze the seriousness of the information received. Okay. So the job of the prosecutor is, again, they are there to convict you, to prove that you are guilty. He or she may seek additional information from the states, organs of United Nations, intergovernment or non-governmental organization or other reliable sources. Okay, the purpose of that is to gather information. That they can do that. Okay, let's say there is now probable cause. What would they do? They are going to submit that to the pre-trial chamber. The one you've seen in the television is now the pre-trial chamber. Okay. Well, their rules is not really clear. Everything is under the discretion of the judge. Okay, look at it. There's no strict compliance with the issuance of a warrant. Not unlike in the Philippines, where you really have to, okay, follow certain rules. Okay, making it sure that the communication is received. Although under our rules, that warrant may, at the time of arrest, may be given to you or may not be there. That's actually the rule. Okay, under rules of court. As long as there's a warrant, okay, you can even arrest somebody. That is Philippine court. Okay, Philippine rules. You can arrest, but there's may not be. It's not really that strict. Okay, they do not have a specific rules. Ours is that after determining the cause, the judge will issue warrant. Okay, as if it's now known to the police, then they may get it. Okay, or they can put it in the station, and then if they say somebody who is a convict, a person with warrant, they can arrest. Okay, they can also bring that warrant of arrest to the person, provided that they're going to read the Miranda Doctrine. What is that Miranda Doctrine? You have the right to counsel, preferably of your own choice. If you do not, then the government will provide you with one. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you. That is a Miranda Doctrine. It was read, right? But a warrant may be given at the time, okay, or it could not be there. But as soon as you ask for it, you should have it. You have to provide. Okay. So, but what if the warrant is still in the internet? It's not yet printed. It was issued March 11, right? It appeared in the internet March 11. So I think they follow that a warrant will be issued in internet, maybe because of the new technology. Okay, before, or in the Philippines, we still abide into printing of paper. Okay, and then signed by, of course, the judge, and then received by the police. Okay. But in that case, I think it's only a matter of seconds because it's once posted in the internet, they effectively arrest on the following day. Now, we go into Article 8. This is very important. No? In fact, this may dwell on this one, on its weakness, like the issuance of a pre-trial chamber of the warrant of arrest or summons to appear. Now, what I discuss here is that are found in the wrong statute, okay, so that you will not be thinking that what I'm saying are just hearsay. So these are the specific rules, okay, lifted from the main source or the, the authoritative part, and that is the statute itself. So probably you maybe heard of it from somebody, but you have not looked into it and read it by yourself. So I'm reading it for you, okay, dissecting to you what really transpired to clear your doubts. Okay, issuance of the pre-trial chamber of the warrant of arrest or the summons to appear. Now, if you look at it, it's not really that strict that you have to issue a warrant. Any time after the initiation of the investigation, the pre-trial chamber now shall, okay, on application of the prosecutor, issue warrant of arrest for the persons involved, having examined the application, and evidence or information submitted to it by the prosecutor. Now, what are those? Okay, having examined the application and the evidence or other information submitted by the prosecutor, it shall be satisfied that there is a reasonable ground, okay, to believe that the person has committed a crime. So this is now similar also to our court, where the prosecutor determines probable cause. If the probable cause now is established, then it will now be submitted to the court to determine again another probable cause. So there are two probable causes here to be determined, one by the prosecutor and the other is by the judge for the issuance now of a warrant. Now, the reasonable ground to believe that the person committed the crime within the jurisdiction of the court. So only those crimes that are mentioned above. So the four crimes which court has jurisdiction. Okay. So the arrest of the person appears necessary. Okay. One, to ensure that the person's appearance on trial, that is going to appear on trial. So actually, warrant is not inevitable. It can be dispensed with if there's an assurance that you can appear on trial. The only reason why, aside from issuance of a warrant, is that the commission of the crime is that if, let's say, the evidence is weak or there is a probability that you can appear in court, then it may not be warrant of arrest. To ensure the person's appearance at the trial, okay, to ensure that the person does not obstruct or endanger the investigation or the court proceedings, okay. Now, so it is a discretion of the court whether he's going to issue the warrant, okay. So if the person does not destroy, like for me, the president cannot destroy any the evidence because he is no longer in the administration. Although there's people still who are loyal to president, but he is not now in the position to withhold those evidences. Where applicable, to prevent the person from continuing from the commission of the crime or related crime which is within the jurisdiction of the court, okay, and which arises to the same circumstances. So if his presence in the country, he still continues the crime which are violative of the crimes under the jurisdiction of the criminal court, then the warrant of arrest may be issued. But if not, then it cannot be warrant of arrest. The problem now is that Upon issuing him a warrant, you are now deprived of your liberty. And these are still on the process. We don't even know that there is, of course, there may be um, the evidence may be that strong, but the damage it caused to the family, to the Filipino people, where our president was now under the mercy of another country who are not voted upon. Okay, can you imagine? They are just there. We do not vote for them. Nobody wanted them to be there except they themselves. They are the ones who are now sitting as judges over the persons who won the hearts of the people. With imagine millions of people voting for him, and right now he is there at the mercy of another foreign power. So that's a sad reality. People who are not even liked are the one who who are now judges, or um, well, that's life. No, you know it's an ups and down. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But right now, probably they are at the highest level. So as you can see, the people, not only in the Philippines, or even in the world, okay, were shocked by it. Okay, when this man was proclaimed to be the most powerful man, aside from next, in fact, to Putin, became at the mercy, arrested, and then put in prison. So people are even protesting. How comes this guy became famous now at the mercy of somebody? Okay, what if people will just be the basis of his acts? Surely he will be acquitted. Okay, although some are against, especially those who are victims. Okay, of course, these are just probably part of the casualties of police operations. Okay, in the name of cleansing our society, making it free for everyone, so that we can walk without fear, which we experienced when he was still the president. Okay, and even now, people can compare. I've read in even comments and even in the news. And in my experience, okay, when every time I go to the pier, I'm always afraid, and I was shocked because at the time, hold-uppers, the criminals were there, and I've seen it personally. Some of them are who are hooked into drugs. They always they want money. They even hold up, and I've seen it. Okay, but at the time when he was president, it was clean, no criminals, and I was also thankful of those days, because sometimes when I come from the province, I um, get down from the vessel at early morning, so I have to make sure also that I have my safety. But right now, I doubt anymore. Doubt. Okay. They are now into the pier. Before there was no criminals. Now, we go to the arrest. We go to the arrest proceedings. Article 59. So, state party here, which has received the request, okay, from the provisional arrest, okay, or for the arrest or surrender, okay. Take note of the word here, the state party, meaning Philippines, if we are a member still, okay. Of course, we're not. At the time of the arrest, see, I think the problem that they had right now is on this article. A state party which has received the request. We're not a state party anymore when we receive the request of the provisional arrest for the arrest or surrender of an immediate take steps to arrest the person in question in accordance with its laws in provisions of article part 9. So this is the problem. Okay, a state party, we are not a state party anymore at the time of arrest. So that is questionable, and that is that would be the problem now in the arrest. Okay, what will happen to the arrest? It could not be by good faith, because a good faith The presumption of good faith is that there was no illegality. Okay, it would be of your um, diligence to look into the legality of your arrest. Okay, because if you've known this already, that we are not state party anymore at the time of the arrest, then that may be in bad faith. Okay, and if it is in bad faith, then the arrest is illegal. It might even be considered as simple kidnapping. Okay, and if it's kidnapping, the penalty would be difficult. Okay, highest penalty imposed. Okay, now so you understand that a person arrested shall be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority. Section 2 again. Upon arrest, when you arrest that, let's say granting without admitting that we are still a party to the United Nations, to the ICC, we are still a state party member of that. Upon arrest, you have to bring that to the competent judicial authority. And who is that judicial authority referred to here? Our courts. Our courts. Okay? So it's not directly bringing the person to the International Court of Justice. So in the custodial state, see, custodial state. So under now the custody of the Philippines, okay, which shall determine in accordance with the law of that state. So it is the state of the Philippines who's going to determine first. Let's say this is a warrant, okay. The warrant applies, whether that warrant applies to the person, okay. Is it still applicable to the person? Or that the person arrested in accordance with the proper process. So, of course, the proper process is that you will be arrested and then you will be informed of your accusation. Then you have the right to counsel, preferably be your own choice. Okay? If you do not have a lawyer, then the state will provide you with one. And then, of course, person's right is always respected. Okay? Now, that could be the problem in that arrest. So, the person arrested shall have the right to apply in the competent court, still again in the same court, okay, for the interim release pending the surrender. It's not necessary you have to bring it somewhere else. I'm sure that could be the problem there. So, knowing all that, even if you are not a lawyer, reading it, you can understand it. Okay, that probably there may be a problem on the jurisdiction, okay, and the issuance of the arrest. Okay, in reaching the decision of such application, the competent court, the competent authority in the custodial state, which refers to the Philippines, we do not have it, it was not followed, shall surrender whether, given the gravity of the alleged crimes, there are urgent and exceptional circumstances to justify an interim release, and whether necessary to safeguard exists to ensure that the custodial state can fulfill its duty to surrender the person to the court. Okay, can the court here, okay, our authority here cannot surrender it to the court without further problem? Okay, so the problem is that they bring him directly to ICC without following this procedure. So if they do not follow this procedure, normally it will be dismissed. The pre-trial chamber shall now be notified of any request of interim release. Okay, so by that alone, so you can probably understand. Okay, so that is the problem. It was not the competent court. Okay, it was not assessed by the competent court. There was a problem in the issuance of the warrant of arrest. It should be the Philippine court. After all, it should be the Philippine court who has the right to issue warrant. Even in applying for extradition treaty, you cannot simply arrest the person without informing our court. Okay. So I'm going to end my discussion now unless you have question